His video is on stupidity, ignorance, and racism. Especially from the black community. You don't like that, do you? You don't like being targeted or singled out. Neither do the homeless. The homeless have no rights. The homeless aren't human beings, and I don't see black people fighting for homeless rights. Unless they're black homeless people. Why is that? Why is it when we have a problem with police brutality in the United States, a problem that exists because there is no enforcement, why is it that we want to blame white people? All white people. I'm not allowed to say black people or I'm racist. Correct? But you can say white people and it's not racist. You can say white people are doing this and white people are doing that. You accuse people of being part of hate groups that they're not a part of because they don't agree with your narrative. And your narrative is fucking bullshit. If your narrative is bullshit, it's bullshit. The color of your skin doesn't change the fact that it's bullshit. If it's all right for you and it's not all right for them, then it's just not all right. Or it should be all right for everybody. A lot of the stuff that I do and a lot of the stuff that I say, I am fully aware that it is antagonistic as fuck. When I see something antagonistic as fuck, I'm going to counter it. You tell me that all men are evil, I will tell you that all women are evil. You tell me all white people are evil, I'll figure out what group you're a part of, that all of them are evil. You say that Muslims should be bombed, I will say that your country should be bombed. You don't like equality? I thought you loved equality. I thought you wanted equality. But no, it's not equality that you want. You want special rights for you and your group. You want special rights that justify your racism. While you complain about people being racist. I saw a lot of white people over the years standing up for black rights, women's rights, LGBT rights. A lot of white males who feel bad. They want to make up for all the crimes of all these other white people. I don't see anybody in the black community doing that. Why should they? They're oppressed. Shit. Anybody in America who's broke is fucking oppressed. Now, with the Christian community, I've known quite a few Muslims in my lifetime, and not one of them has ever harmed me. Most of the people who have harmed me in my lifetime are Christians. And when I say that, I get to hear from people claiming Christian that, those aren't real Christians. Meanwhile, BLM isn't exactly an organization. It's more of an idea or a concept. But the thing is, just like with Christians who claim that they're being persecuted while persecuting more people worldwide than any other group or organization, these Christians are supposedly loving. You're not loving if you're supporting this, and you are supporting it if you're not speaking out. When 9/11 happened, Muslims all over the world spoke out about how wrong that was. And we got to see on Facebook all these narratives of these not Native Americans, I'm sorry, all of these Muslims who are speaking out about how wrong this is. And people are posting up about how these people are asking for all Americans to die and shit like that. I'm like, Jesus fuck. Now you say when Christians do these things, oh, they're not real Christians. That means that most Christians are not real Christians. Most. Lovely, right? Well, the same thing goes for Black Lives Matters. Same goes for any of these groups. And yes, I will call Black Lives Matters a hate group. I will classify the same way that we are classified. You have no idea how many black folks I've seen taking their shit out on homeless people that never did them wrong. If you got a problem with the police, take it out with the fucking police. Don't take it out on homeless people. Don't take it out on white people. You're just fanning the flames of racism by being a racist yourself. Now, that ain't cool. Meanwhile, we got two different sets of laws. We got Breonna's Law, which is something that I endorse. Why is that? Because it's got stuff in it for actual enforcement of these laws that we already have. More laws is not going to do us any goddamn good if there's no way to enforce them. If they intentionally, and by they, I'm not saying white people, I'm saying lawmakers. If they're going to put 10,000 loopholes and 10,000 earmarks in those laws are no good. Nearly all of the laws that have been enacted in the United States in my lifetime have been earmarked. That's where you write a big fucking law. Congress won't pass it. So you earmark it for something like this. You put an earmark where you basically are writing a link to the law that was not passed. You're putting a link to that in your new law that you're trying to pass. Now you're trying to pass shit that obviously didn't pass through Congress, but now you're trying to sneak it in to get it passed. Now I get to hear about how white people this and white people that, and it's white people's fault. Then we see a whole bunch of black people harming innocent people. When a white person disagrees with you, you call him a Nazi or tell him he's in the KKK. But then when black folks show up to a BLM rally, yes, I'm going to call it a rally just like I call it when it's KKK. It's a rally. And you're going to beat on a white kid who's sitting there waiting on a fucking bus? You're going to beat on a little white girl 6 on fucking 1 who's waiting on a fucking train? You're going to light a fucking homeless person on fire? Oh, well, that's not Black Lives Matters. Now you want to judge individually. You want your group to be judged individually. You want to be judged individually. You want to go, hey, not all black people are like that. Hey, not all Christians are like that. It don't matter. It's fair and equal treatment and you don't fucking like it. You want to blame all white people and give no credit to the millions of white people in America who are on your fucking side, who are actually fighting for your rights, who are being arrested for your rights and ours. White people did it. White people did it. It's white people's fault. White people, white people, white people, white people. Is it white people's fault? Is it really? Is it white people's fault that those black people chose to victimize innocent people? I do not agree with the narrative at all that many racist white people are posting up there. But I also don't agree with the narrative from the other side. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If you're allowed to do it, I should be allowed to do it. If I'm not allowed to do it, you shouldn't be allowed to do it. That's what equality means. Christians don't believe in equality. They want everybody to be Christian. And most of them are hateful towards people who are not. If you're not a Christian, you must be a devil worshiper. And it's okay for them to threaten to cut off your balls and cut your throat and shit like that. That's the kind of Christians I've known my entire life. Christians like my mother. My dad, he's afraid of dying now. He was one of the biggest atheists I ever knew. Now he's gone all religious, but he's still fake. If y'all, black folks, aren't willing to do what these Muslims did after 9/11, or what many of these white people did when what happened to George Floyd happened, then you're the racist one. You're the one going out of your way to pretend that it's okay for one group and not another. And that's why it's racist. CCR type, good afternoon, Sean. I'm sorry I haven't been around much recently. I haven't had access to technology. That's right, I don't have a real good connection with technology, and I'm not real good with technology, so it's life. That guy that threw the firecracker at the homeless guy and thought it was hilarious. It wasn't just him, it was his buddies too. We're not allowed to blame that on black people, are we? When something bad happens to a black person, it's white people's fault. Isn't it? I'm tired of reading that shit. I'm tired of being victimized. I've been victimized my entire life by black people. And I still stick up for black people. Why is that? Because all of the people who victimized me had a name. It wasn't their skin color that made them victimize me. I'm going to tell you, if I'm punched in the face by a black man 30 times, it is not a fucking hate crime for me to knock that bitch the fuck out. If you got a problem with police brutality, take it up with the fucking police. You got plenty of backup. But when you start blaming your backup for crimes they didn't fucking commit, we got a problem. If you want to blame a whole group for crimes they didn't commit, but when it comes to your group, you want to turn a blind eye to it, fuck your group. Pull your shit together. Get your poop in a fucking group. Pull your head out of your ass and stop making issues that are not racist into racist issues. When I was a kid, one of the most popular things in institutions where I was either the only white kid or one of the few white kids is to jump me 6-on-1 and then say, well, he used the N-word. No, the fuck I didn't. When you're racist and then you go claiming that your victims are the racist ones, we have an issue. I'm fighting for your rights, but I'm fighting for my rights as well. I am not for one fucking moment gonna pretend that this shit's only happening to black people. Not for one fucking moment. I have eyes. When you out on the streets, you get to see this shit. When you are stuck on the streets and you don't get the luxury of being inside of a nice cozy house watching fucking TV all goddamn day, you actually get to see this shit in real life all the fucking time. You get to see how the homeless people are victimized more than any black people that you're gonna meet unless they are homeless. You don't want to fucking hear that? I don't give a shit. Kind of like the situation with Christians and science. Doctors were burned at the stitches thanks to the Catholic Church. What changed? What fucking changed? Well, as much as God is going to love these people and accept them into heaven and so on and so forth for their service to the Almighty, we had a pope who was afraid of dying of the fucking plague. When the plague hit Rome, he went, fuck, let all the doctors out, see if they can prevent me from dying. I'm scared. This guy's a leader of the Catholic Church and he's scared of death. All throughout their history, the Christian religion has sought to destroy evidence of their wrongdoings, to destroy history of other peoples. Take a look at what they did to the Mayans. Take a look at what they did to the Aztecs. When I say they, am I not allowed to say that? Because now I'm picking on a group. Oh, with all due respect, we do the same thing with Nazis, don't we? Nazis, Nazis, Nazis. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people who want to put out some bullshit about how the Nazi Party is for workers. No, that was just a platform used to fucking dupe people. Kind of like most people who are drug addicts believe in God, but only when it serves their purpose. I spent all of my money on meth. Now I'm stuck out in the cold. I better use me some religion to con one of them stupid Christians into doing what the fuck I want. I love the Jesus. I don't read the Bible, but I love the Jesus. I read the Bible. I love the Jesus. The idea, anyway. What I don't like is what the majority of Christians in this country use that for. Cruelty towards others. I mean, even in the 1980s, we got to hear from the Vatican how they're basically hating everything science. Now, over the years, Catholic folks have started to learn that, yeah, praying to your imaginary friend isn't going to fucking cure your kid's leukemia. Praying to God isn't going to set your son's broken leg. Those of you who say, I'll pray for you, I'll pray for you. Don't fucking pray for me. If you're not going to get off your ass, your prayers do no good. I want you to pray. I want you to sit down at your kitchen table. I want you to pray for dinner to show up in front of you. And I want you to pray for that fork to feed you itself without you having to touch it. Let's see if God does that for you. No, God isn't going to fucking do that for you. Prayer doesn't work. Getting off your ass does. And those of you who want to tell me your bullshit stories, I've heard that out of Odinists. I've heard it out of Muslims. I've heard it out of Jews. About how their God saved them, and so they believe in their God, and obviously no other God exists. Muslims are using these very same experiences that they have, that are the same as your Christian experiences, and their God is mighty. Your God is mighty. You can't really agree on which one's the real God, can you? Actually, that's not true. Islam teaches about the children of the cloth. What's that? The descendants of Judaism. Yeah, imagine that. Jesus is mentioned in the Quran more than once. Mary, the mother of Jesus, has her own book in the Quran. An entire book. An entire book. I get to hear from Christians about what's in the Bible. You know why I read the Bible? Because Christians are usually wrong about the shit they're spouting. You know why I read the Quran? so I can argue, so I can show people how wrong they are. And people don't like being told they're wrong or showed they're wrong. And they will hate you for showing that they are wrong. It don't matter what color they are. It don't matter what religion they are. It don't matter what gender they are. People hate being proven wrong. All people, like, no, I love being proven wrong. I absolutely love it. When I am proven wrong, on many occasions, it proves me right. One lady, I gave her a statistic, and it was like 63%. And she looked it up. She's like, it's not 63%. It's not 63%. It's 72%. Ah, so although you're trying to argue against me, you just proved my point to a greater degree. Fuck yes, I'll take it. The whole narrative of, well, these people who are doing this, that's not BLM. That's not BLM. Well, they're at a BLM rally, all right? If we got a KKK rally and there's 1,000 people in the KKK and 6 of them get violent, we blame the KKK, do we not? But it's not all right to blame BLM, who isn't decrying any of this. I don't see anything from BLM about Native Americans. I don't see anything from BLM about the homeless. I don't see anything from BLM about immigrants. But you look through my Facebook, you'll see all of those people are mentioned. And I fight for all of their rights. Now then there's the black community being split down the center on the LGBT issue. Are there really that many black people who want to complain about not having equal rights, who are going to go out of their way to make sure that gay people don't have those very same rights? Fuck you. You're not a real black person. Do you like that? You're not a real Christian. The Bible does not say to kill homosexuals. Your rhetoric is bullshit. You twisting the Bible to fit your bias doesn't mean that's what the Bible actually fucking says. You know why I like going to a black church in Washington State? Was it because it was mostly black people? Partially. But mostly it's because the preacher opened up the book and he read it. I come here and I get to hear the preachers. Every preacher that I have ever heard in the Chapel Assembly of God has been a hate monger, has been a warmonger, has gone out of his way to fan the flames of racism. Fucking flies. And religious discontent. Every single one of them opens up the Bible, reads a few short passages, and then spends 20 minutes telling us how we are supposed to interpret it. No, it's written in plain and simple fucking English. I don't need a fucking interpreter. English is my first goddamn language. When you, as a preacher, stand before a congregation and preach hate and manipulate the Bible to teach hate, you don't believe in God. You are abusing your power to manipulate others into hating. And Black Lives Matters is doing that. Just like the KKK, just like the Black Panthers. But you know what? The difference is the Black Panthers were actually fighting for racial unity. They were formed for the protection of their communities. I'm not going to pretend racism doesn't exist. Racism is a byproduct of poverty. It is. And the current poverty situation that most black people in America are facing is actually due to racism. Catch-22, isn't it? The laws that were enacted and passed following the Civil War, specifically to target black people, have been used to target Americans across the country, regardless of color. This is not Black Lives Matter's fault. This is our fight, ours. Whether you're Native American or white or black, whether you're from Hungary or Egypt or Australia, this is a world war we are fighting. This is not just the United States. This is not just specific to your group. This is not just specific to your gender. You want special rights for black people, but you want no rights for homosexuals? Fuck you! Fuck you! I know too many gay people to allow that mentality to go unchecked. You goddamn right I'll speak out. And I'll take the fucking backlash. You want to call me a racist? Fuck yes, I'm racist. I admit it. I don't like white people. But is it all white people that I got a problem with? No, it's not. So should I say white people? If I got a problem with the police, should I say white people, white people, white people? Or should I say the police officers' names in specific? Steinman, Lolatai, Burke, Jonas, Hahn, DaCosta, Selhorst. And that's just a fucking start. How about Schneider? I'm fighting for our rights. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care your gender. I don't care your sexual preference. Is that entirely true? No. If you're a grown-ass adult trying to fuck little kids, yeah, your sexual preference is fucking wrong. You need to be checked. You need to be put in check. You need to be identified before you get a position as a teacher or a preacher or a Sunday school teacher. You need to be identified before you can join a police department, rise up through the ranks, and hire your buddies who think similar. You need to be identified before we end up with more situations like that guy who's got his neck broken in fucking jail. It was a suicide. No, it fucking wasn't. Shit, if my case had been that high profile, I'd have been murdered too. But unlike Epstein, they had the mentally ill thing to fall back on. Mentally ill, that's like calling someone the N-word. It is that disgusting. Is Black Lives Matter as a hate group? Not intentionally. Just like Christians are not intentionally a hate group. But then again, when you intentionally look away, well, yeah, now you are intentionally a hate group. I'm not going to buy this bullshit narrative about black folks because I happen to see the truth. I happen to have lived the truth. Homeless got it worse than anybody. You can see as a homeless person how, yes, black people are victimized more than white people. They are. In houses, black people are victimized more than white people, if you look at it per capita, of course. Now, when we have a black person who commits a crime against another black person, we say it's black on black crime. But when a white person commits a crime against another white person, we just call it crime. I can see these things. I can identify these things, and I can agree with everybody who says this is wrong. Most of the people that I've spoken with who keep posting up all of this stuff from BLM, they agree with me on this. Pretty odd, isn't it? Darren O'Connor, his conversations on here show that the situation with Zaid Atkinson, where he was paid what, $105,000 because he was targeted as a homeless person and wasn't homeless. Did he get that money for being targeted as a homeless person? No, he got that money because of a narrative. It must be because he's black. And why did Boulder County go along with that? Because if the actual issue of homelessness was brought up and people went, holy shit, we need to do something about this, their cash cow would go down the toilet. See, there's not enough black people in Boulder County to keep the jails full. If they did keep the jails full of black people, folks would make a big fucking deal about it. Why? Because it's fucking wrong. But you don't make any fucking deal about it when it's 81% homeless people at all points in time. At least 81% nationwide homeless people. Boulder County is even higher. 90% homeless people at all points in time. You fighting for your special rights, or are you fighting for our Constitution? Because if you ain't about the Constitution, fuck your rights.